Bora Boy, how's everybody? This is a little Fakola Day of Idin Ka Ifa Temple at Cairo and at Cabo. We welcome you, everybody on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Thank you all for joining us today. You tuned in to our Ile Ijuba Ifa Temple service. We do this every Sunday. So we thank you for joining us. As we begin, I want to start our day off with really good prayers. All right, so why don't we begin with that? Olodumare o, Ifa o, Ifa Ojide, Moni Ifa Kolade, Ifa, we come invoking your spirit. We ask that you would ward off all death, ward off sickness, cases, controversies, ward off fights, litigation, losses, and our advice from us. Ifa, we pray on the Odu Ifa, Ogunda Sorire, Ogunda Bede, the creeping plant that makes the calabash grow also makes the garden egg grow, and even the pumpkin too. It even makes the kiki, wool spinner, which is on the way to Iresa town, grow. That which people use to drink when they're thirsty. It was used to fetch water for washing the head of the dog, and the dog's head became clean and shiny. It was also used to wash the head of the ram, and the ram's head was sparkling white. These were Ifa's declarations to Oromila when going to help mend the life of Olufe. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Now, Ifa, all my household belongs to you. My home, my farm, it belongs to you. Ella, the pure, please show me compassion. Ifa, please be patient with me. All my belongings in life are yours as of this moment. With this, Ifa, what are we doing? We are putting everything that we are worried about, all the things of our life, our possessions, we're putting them in the hands of Ifa. And Ifa knows how to deal with it. Ifa, we put our homes under your ownership. We put our families under your ownership. And now, Ifa, we make this pact with you, with Olodumare on the Odu Ejiogbe. It is from you that a cow has honor in the manger. It is from you that a prince has honor on top of a horse. These we Ifa's declarations to Ato, methodical planning, the father of all organizations. Ifa, I know not the plan. It is that which you plan for me that I consider good and proper. Ifa, whatever you have planned for us, I know it is a good plan because we have put ourselves into your protection and your hold. Now, Ifa, we call on Ogundameji. Ifa says, Amoni Amola Bodonla Mo Yeye Resto Fun Won La Omo Difa Fun Oromila Ifa Yorata Bo More Bigun Igimo wọ́n ní kò ṣàkálẹ̀ bọ̀nì ṣíṣe ọbẹ̀ bọ̀ rúbọ ìfarata bọ́mì bípọ̀ lọ́dẹ o ẹ̀wẹ̀ orí ní rata bọ́rì ìfarata bọ́mì bípọ̀ lọ́dẹ o ẹtì bọ́ ńlá ní rata bọ́lẹ̀ ìfarata bọ́mì bọ́ ibi ìpọ̀ lọ́dẹ o bádì bàbá mọ́ àràtà bọ̀mọ́ rẹ̀. Ìfarata bọ́mí bí pọ̀lọ́dẹ́ o ọ̀mìnira nírata bọ̀yárìn lọ́dọ̀ ìfarata bọ́mí ìpí pọ̀lọ́dẹ́ o. Ifa says Ogundameji, we are sure of today. We are sure equally of tomorrow. Whatever the 2 days their siblings will be favorable or not is what we are not sure of. These were Ifa's declarations to Orunmila when Ifa planned to provide a protective shade for all of his children. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Ifa, protect us, for there is too much evil in the world. When a hen hatches her eggs, it provides protection for the chicks. Ifak, protect us, for there is too much evil around. A big body of water protects the sand underneath. Ifak, protect us, for there is too much evil around. Ifak, we ask that you would protect us at this time. Please ward off all death, ward off all sickness, ward off cases, controversies, ward off fights, litigation, losses in allied fights, ward off witchcraft and negative energy from us. Bring forth to us long life, wealth, responsible children, longevity, prosperity, victory over adversity, peace of mind, joy, healing, success. Give us wealth in large amounts to be able to pay our bills, to be able to take care of our family, to be able to take care of ourselves. If I, please provide for us. If I will, oh, share, if I we call on you, Ima Kamimene Ama, Ima Kamimene Ano, Ima Kamimene Adeloko, Itamole, sorry, if I learn me, but I think Banini, and in Banami, I don't Tifa Leledro, if I put a protective hedge around us. If I would call on Oshe, Arula, Oshe Tora, Tanya the Fidu Tubu, the stock of a chameleon is not big enough to use his headgear. Had it been enough to use headgear, I would have taken it home and adorned my head with it. Easy for decorations to Arula when going on spiritual mission to Ejebelin. We call on locals being saying pay money. Call on Saucer and make a rich. We call on Oshe Arula to get our wool. Oshe Tora, I kick in a baggy south. The attract sharp against the tree. Cassify for room when you see Ibana share from a little. If in our war tells you you should be wealthy, you should surely be wealthy. A kicking in bagisa in the mouth of an almost Zibana in the mouth of an awol. If no church you have joy, you should surely have joy. A kicking in bagisa in the mouth of one Zibana in the mouth of an awol. If no church you have victory, you surely victory. A kicking in bagisa in the mouth of one Zibana in the mouth of an awol. Let's maybe so surely shall it be. Àṣẹ òrìṣà lẹ́nu mi ò àṣẹ òrìṣà lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá màmá wí o, ìlú mọ̀lẹ́ ó bà. Ifá ó bà o, àṣẹ òrìṣà lẹ́nu mi, àṣẹ o. Bímọ dúró, tímọ ṣúrẹ́, bímọ bẹ̀rẹ̀, bímọ ṣúrẹ́, bímọ kúndẹ̀, bímọ ṣúrẹ́, bímọ jọ̀kọ́, tímọ ṣúrẹ́. Èrè tí mo sùn orí ti bọ́. Ori eni larure eni o, ori eni larure eni. Mojulo mi fa wa mori, ori eni larure eni. Sho, obrecha azu, Ifá ọba lọ́run, àtìbàtà ajú, Ifá ọba lọ́run, ó ṣe àrú ìlà, Ifá ti bọ́. Oh Lord, Damari and the divinities, we come to you. We thank you for life, health, strength, food, clothing, and shelter. We say our prayers. We ask that you would support us. We ask that you would push away the negativity, the problems in our lives, push away the doubt, push away the fear, and bring forth to us divine certainty. Help us to have the courage to move forward. Aboru, Aboye, Abo Shishe, Abo Ato. Good morning once again. This is Oluwa Fakolade of Idinka Ifa Temple, and we welcome you all today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. What I want you all to do is, please, before we even begin, I want you to share this with someone that you know needs it, because I know that there will be plenty of people who need to hear this. Along with that, what I want you to do is let me know where you're tuning in from so that we can shout you out at the very end. So let us begin. Let's jump right into it. So when we think of this, some of you are not stuck. You're just scared. You've been calling it confusion. You've been calling it waiting. You've been calling it being careful. You've been even calling it waiting for a confirmation or waiting for the right time. Some of you have even made it sound spiritual. Like, I'm going to go and ask Ifa again. But what did Ifa already say? Ifa already answered. What if, what if your Ori has already been nudging you? What if the opportunity has already appeared? What if the conversation already needs to happen? What if you already know what needs to be done? And the real problem is not that you don't know what to do. You're afraid of what happens after you do it. What if I leave? What if I stay? What if I start? What if I fail? What if I succeed? What if I say no? What if I say yes? What if I make the wrong decision? And eventually, fear disguises itself as wisdom. Fear begins to say, I'm just being careful. Fear says, I'm waiting for that time, the right time. Fear says, I'm waiting for another confirmation. But sometimes fear becomes dangerous when it learns your spiritual vocabulary. How many times does destiny have to answer a question that fear keeps on asking? Let me be clear. I'm not telling you don't consult Ifa. I'm not telling you just follow your feelings. And I'm certainly not telling you jump without wisdom. No, exactly what I'm telling you is Ifa gives you direction. Dafa of Ifa gives you direction, and wisdom discerns the direction. Ebo prepares the way that had been prescribed, but courage produces the movement. Ifa can say go, but Ifa cannot physically move your feet. Ifa can tell you to stop, but you must develop the discipline to stop. Ifa can reveal this situation is destructive. You still have to decide to move. Ifa can reveal an opportunity, but you still have to walk through that door. Ifa can also reveal the road, but courage is what puts your feet on the road. So when we think of this, Ifa can reveal that road, but courage is what is needed. Let's go through some points before we even talk about Odu. Number one, fear doesn't always look like fear. Sometimes fear looks like procrastination. It looks like overthinking, perfectionism, overanalyzing, endless research. Let me get another consultation, or let me wait for the right time. Fear becomes dangerous when it learns your spiritual vocabulary. Because now, fear says, I'm just waiting for confirmation. You sound spiritual and ethereal with it, when in actuality, it's anxiety. Number two, certainty is not a requirement for movement. You don't need to know everything that's going to happen. You need enough clarity to take the next responsible step. You keep asking destiny to show you the entire staircase. Destiny keeps showing you just the next step. Focus on that next step. 3, every decision closes another door. This is why folks freeze. Choosing one thing means releasing another. Sometimes maturity is accepting I cannot become everything. I cannot become everything to everyone. I cannot take every road. I cannot maintain every relationship. I cannot keep every version of myself. Every destiny has doors that you have to walk through, And as you walk through one, you close another. 4. Courage is not the absence of fear. What is courage? Courage means I am afraid and I am moving. Not recklessly, not foolishly, not without consultation, but once I receive direction, I move. Courage isn't moving because you know you win. Courage is moving because you know standing still costs you your destiny. Number 5, the wrong decision isn't always as dangerous as no decision. This could become controversial. Let's think about it. When we nuance this, because sometimes decision requires patience, but chronic indecision has a consequence too. While you're deciding, time is moving, opportunities are moving, people are moving, you are aging, children are growing, markets change, doors close. Indecision feels safe. It feels safe because nothing happens immediately, but nothing happening may be exactly what is destroying you. Number 6, sometimes Ifa's answer requires you to become braver. When we think of this, we often go for Ifa consultation and divination, and we ask, what's going to happen? But there may be a deeper question that we need to ask. And that question is, who must I become to handle what is going to happen? When we think of that, courage has to move and transform us. Number 7, take the next right step. What do I mean? What is the next responsible action your Ori, your wisdom, and the information available to you is telling you to take? Maybe it's not quitting. Maybe it is to make the phone call. Maybe it's to submit the application, have that conversation, create the plan, set the boundary, start the first step, save the first $100, make that appointment, apologize, say no, or even say yes. When you think of this, we've got to move beyond. We've got to move out of a different space. We have to move out of courage. Let us look at the Odu Ifa, Osa Adetutu. Ifa says, it is the assignment given to me by my Ori that I am pursuing. It is the business that my Ori has sent me on that I am following. The assignment that my Ori has given me, I cannot but perform. These Ifa's declarations to Ajao, he who explores the ocean to have success and explores the deep sea to become prosperous. He was advised to offer Ebo. He complied. The assignment that my Ori has sent me on, Okun, the sea, please let me fulfill it. Now, let us look at this. Let's look at this image. when we think of this, the ocean, the deep sea, all of those are metaphorically uncertainty because you can't see the bottom. You cannot control the water. You cannot guarantee the conditions. Yet Ajao says the assignment of my Ori has given me, I cannot but perform. What is Ifa giving us? Ifa is essentially saying destiny does not promise you certainty. Destiny gives you the assignment. Some of you are asking Ori to make the ocean shallow before you're willing to explore. Courage is not knowing how deep the water is. Courage is knowing why you entered the water in the first place. The assignment my Ori gave me, I could not but perform, right? When we look at that, let us analyze this verse of Otra Meji, this excerpt. You have sent me on an errand, and I have gone. You have also sent me on a journey, and I went. This particular journey you are sending me on is filled with travails. These be five declarations to Orunmila when going to heaven to learn wisdom. He was advised to offer a book, and he complied. Indeed, it is difficult to be an Ifa practitioner. This is a great story. I won't give you the whole story because I've shared it many times before, and I want to focus on a particular part of this verse here. On this, Ifa is saying the journey is difficult, right? Orunmila doesn't say the journey is difficult, therefore it must not be my destiny. Instead, the journey is difficult and I am going. That's what he says. What I mean is difficult does not automatically mean wrong. Sometimes in spirituality, people teach that if it's aligned, then everything will flow. This Ifa says the journey towards wisdom itself contains travail. Stop interpreting every difficulty as the wrong road. Every bump in the road is a problem. Sometimes the resistance isn't a stop sign. Sometimes the resistance is the price of your education, your elevation. What is courage? Once again, courage isn't reckless action. It is continuing in a rightly discerned direction despite difficulty. Let us look at Ikameji. Ifa says, let me manage here. This was Ifa's message to Agba when going to take over the forest. From the owners of the forest, he was advised to offer a bow. What is Ifa saying? In this Odu, essentially, Agba wanted to establish himself in the forest. What did he do? He consulted Ifa. The Babalao told him something big. He said, not only would he establish himself there, eventually he would take the forest over. Agba could not see how this could be. He couldn't see it. It didn't make sense from where he was standing. But he trusted and accepted Ifa. He offered his abo. Then, soon after, Agba set out on his journey into the forest. He initially found a place near a river and simply decided to manage that area temporarily. 2 years later, he controlled the vicinity. 10 years later, he became the main force in the forest. Ifa is saying, let me manage here. This is Ifa's message to Ijokun when going to take over the plane from the owners of the plane. He was advised to forever. Same pattern happens with Ijokun. He initially goes merely to manage there, but within 10 years, he takes over the plane. What is Ifa telling us? You don't need to see how it ends in order to take the next step. Agba could not see how it was possible, yet he moved anyway. Certainty says, show me how this ends, and I'll move. Courage says, show me the next responsible step, and I'll take it. Let us look finally at Osaleye. Ifa says, this passage, Ifa says, it twists around their hands firmly, and it curls round their legs strongly. These Ifa's declarations to Egungun when going to perform when going to reform Ife land. Here's advice offer above. It twists round the hands firmly. It curls round the legs strongly. These Ifa's declarations to Ogun when going to reform Ife land. Here's advice offer above. It twists round the hands firmly, and it curls round the legs strongly. These were Ifa's declarations to Orunmila when going to reform Ife land. He was advised to offer above. Only Orunmila complied. When we think of this, in this Ifa, Egungun and Ogun received counsel, but they failed to comply fully. Orunmila received the same advice, and he completed the prescribed actions before going to Ile-Ife, and he succeeded where everybody else failed. Sometimes you're not waiting for another answer. You're delaying obedience to the answer you already received. This is a unique dimension introduced. Why? Because sometimes courage is simply obeying the instruction. Egungun and Ogun and Orunmila were given essentially the same mission concerning Ile-Ife. They received the same advice as what needed to be done, but Orunmila did the prescribed ebo and the rituals before he set out on the journey. Conditions began changing. Sickness was revealed. People trapped in litigation and poverty found relief. Pregnant women gave birth. The failed crops began to become fruitful. Peace abound. Ifa says here that Orunmila succeeded where Egungun and Ogun had failed. Let us return to the verse. Osaleye, it twists round their hands firmly, and it curls round their legs strongly. These Ifa's declarations to Egungun when going to reform Ife land. He was advised to offer above. These were also the declarations to Ogun when going to reform Ife land. They were also the declarations to Orunmila. When we see this, what is Ifa ultimately saying? Sometimes you don't need more confirmation. You need to act on the instruction you have already been given. How many times does destiny have to answer the question that fear keeps on asking? Let us finally end with this verse of Owoni Elegibo Ifa says, the dog that was warned but refused to heed warning will become the dog of Elegbara. The ram that was advised but refused to heed warning will become the ram of the Imole. The human being that was advised but refused to heed warning will live to regret his or her actions. These were false declarations for the self-conceited person when he was going to cultivate the palm that was a taboo to cultivate. He was advised not to cultivate it. He instead insisted on cultivating it. He was advised to offer Ebo. He refused to comply. Travelers to Ipo and Ofata, let those advised to offer Ebo do so accordingly. Let us look at this. When we think about this verse, this story, this is the story of the self-conceited man. And he received fair warning. He was specifically warned not to cultivate a part of land because doing so was a taboo. There were spirits that lived on that land that wanted to prevent anyone from doing anything there because it was theirs. The problem here is not lack of direction. He had already been told what not to do. What made him reject this instruction? It was pride. It was ego. That made him reject the instruction. Instead of respecting the advice, respecting the warning, the self-conceited man believed he knew better. He insisted on cultivating the land anyway. His problem wasn't uncertainty. It wasn't unwillingness to. It was not fear. It was his unwillingness to accept an answer that he didn't like. How many times do we get a divination and we don't like the advice? It don't make us feel good. We mad, we in our feels. So what? It's still some wisdom that we need to analyze there. The self-conceited man was given another opportunity to correct himself. Ifa advised him to offer Ebo, giving him another chance to respond appropriately. Yet he refused to comply. So there were multiple opportunities for wisdom to interrupt his course. But his stubbornness and his refusal to follow advice eventually brought him negative consequences. He went ahead and cultivated the land belonging to those spiritual forces, and the spirits eventually gathered to determine, what do we do with this fool? What do we do with this fool who chose to violate? So his suffering was therefore not caused by a lack of guidance. It followed as a refusal to heed guidance. What are we saying? Courage must remain accountable to wisdom. Ifa warns that human beings who receive advice but refuse to heed it will live to regret those actions eventually. Courage is not doing whatever you want. Courage is having the strength to obey wise counsel, even when wise counsel tells you something you don't want to hear. When we think of this, you aren't stuck. You're probably afraid to move. Sometimes fear keeps you from moving when you should move. And sometimes ego keeps you moving when you should stop. Wisdom is knowing the difference. Moving when Ifa says move is courage. Stopping when Ifa says stop is courage. Sometimes fear keeps you from moving, but pride keeps you from stopping. Both can take away from your destiny. When we think of this, there are so many things that we have to assess and transform. When we think of this, I want to add another Ifa, and this is from Ejiogbe. And this verse is going to tell us about making the wrong decision. Ejiogbe says an albino is he who grows gray all over his body. A cripple is he who never stretches his hands and carries the Orisha calabash from the attic. These were Ifa's declarations to Imi, life, the offspring of Orisha Bowuji, who shall become the most important part of the body. He was advised to offer Ebo. When we think of this story, life, Imi, was told that the body would lose many things. And it happened. The body lost position. The body lost spouse. The body lost clothing and prosperity. And so many other things. But what remained? Life. Life remained. And because life remained, despair was refused. Ifa says life clung to hope. When life clings to hope, circumstances change. Money will return. Spouse will return with children. The things that had been lost will be recovered again in abundance. What is Ifa telling us? And this is so important. As long as you still have life, you still have a next move. When you make a wrong decision, if you still have life, you still have another decision to make. You messed up the relationship, you're still here. You might be able to repair. You lost the money, you're still here. Your business failed, you're still here. You may be able to repair it. You chose wrong, you're still here. A wrong decision can change your road without having the authority of canceling your destiny. So ultimately, what are we saying? Consult Ifa, discern the advice, make the Ebo, when prescribed, listen, decide, then move. And when Ifa says don't move, have the courage enough to remain still. In closing, every decision has a cost. Choosing one road means releasing another. If I choose this opportunity, another opportunity may disappear. If I say yes to this, I may have to say no to another. Sometimes maturity means accepting that. I cannot become everything, can't follow every road. I cannot preserve every version. Every destiny has doors that you have to walk through. When you think of this, you have to make that choice. And once you make that choice, stick with it. Think about it. Weigh it out. Choose again. Choose better. I remember hearing, I'm trying to remember exactly who this person was, but I think it was probably the Stedman Graham who was sitting in on a lecture by him years ago, and he said, or it was either him or Russell Simmons, and they said this valuable thing: fail. Move again, fail better, learn, fail again, fail better until you succeed. That's all that choice is. Now, I know someone listening to me um, isn't afraid of the next decision. You're grieving the last one you made. You already chose wrong. You already lost something. You already stayed too long. You left too early. Spent too much money. You already missed an opportunity. And you're thinking, what about me? Some people think the purpose of Ifa is to eliminate uncertainty. No, Ifa is here to give us wisdom for navigating life. Sometimes we come asking what's going to happen, but what we really need to ask is who must I become in order to handle what will happen? Ifa will reveal the direction, but we have to be courageous enough to follow it. Ifa can warn us, but we have to be humble enough to listen. Some might be stuck, afraid to move. You've been waiting for certainty, but destiny is only giving you enough light to make the next step. But courage does not mean recklessness. Ifa is telling us something so much deeper. Consult, discern, listen, offer ebo when prescribed, decide, and then move. When wisdom says don't move, stay still. Fear can keep you from moving when you should. Pride can keep you moving when you shouldn't. Wisdom is knowing the difference. You don't need to know how the story ends. You only need to have courage enough to take the next responsibility, take the next responsible step. Ifa is revealing the road, but you have to be courageous enough to put your feet on it. In closing, I just want you to answer one question today. What decision have you been postponing because you're waiting for certainty? Don't tell all your business in the chat. Just type, I know my next step. And then I want you to ask yourself, do I need to move? Do I need to stop? Do I need to apologize? Do I need to wait? Do I need to ask for wisdom from Ifa? Or do I already know the answer? And now I just need courage. All right, let's do this affirmation. Repeat this after me. My Ori will guide me. Wisdom will govern me. Fear will not paralyze me. Pride will not mislead me. I will not demand certainty before I obey wisdom. I will move when it is time to move. And I will stop when it is time to stop. I will wait when wisdom requires patience. I will not allow fear to disguise itself as wisdom. I will take the next responsible step towards my destiny. Ashe, Aboru, Aboye, Aboshishe, Aboto. Man, thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for listening. I have some announcements. So, first announcement is next week is Itarogun. It will be, I believe, on next Friday. So, next Friday is Itarogun. We'll do that, and we'll do that live. Also, November 9th to November 16th, Chief Popola and Babalao Jose Rodriguez will be right here in McDonough, Georgia at Edin Kaifa Temple. If you would like to participate in that process, please contact me, 323-244-1133. Also, we're looking for temple members to help and assist with cleaning, shuttling people from place to place, food preparation, logistics, things like that. If you are interested in helping, please let me know. Also, we will be doing a Tefa, Ifa initiation, Dafa, casting Ifa, and there will be some Ifa talks and lectures, and it will be good time to sit down with Chief Popola, also with Babalawo Jose, and exchange the information and learn. Also, if anyone has access to locations in the McDonough and or Metro Atlanta area and you are interested and available for us to have an IFA talk there with Chief Popola, like an IFA lecture, please let me know. You can contact me once again at 323-244-1133. Also, if you have any donations to keep what we're doing going on, you can send those donations to our Zelle at 323-244-1133. All right? Thank you so much. Let me shift gears real quick. I want to see who's here so I can shout you out. All right. Let me see what's up. Let me go to the laptop. What's up? All right, Allison Abaraboy Aboshishe. Happy Sunday to you. All right. Thank you so much, Ia. Barbara Ifayoyin. Thank you for all your donations. Thank you so much. Tapping in from New Jersey. All right, Chloe Dior, thank you. Abo Shishe Abo Ato. All right, James, thank you. Yes. Ashe, can't move forward because of fear and stubbornness. All right, good to see you. Thank you. Queen, thank you. Good to see you. Thank you all so much. You know your next step. All right, everybody tapping in. Good to see you. I will sete Ifa, I think it's Fakayode, I think. Good to see you from Detroit tapping in. Good to see you. Somebody was telling me to tap the screen. I don't even know how to do that on TikTok. Like, tap the screen. I'm tapping it. I don't know what the heck to do. But thank you all. We'll stay on a little bit longer if people have questions on TikTok. All right. Oh, telling the viewers. Okay, I've been using it, but I don't really, I don't know how to, do it really good yet. So, all right, with that, so we'll stay on a little bit longer on TikTok. If y'all have any questions, concerns, comments, hit me up on TikTok. We'll stay on a little bit longer there. All right. So, in closing, let us pray and affirm. May our Ori give us clarity when the road divides. May Ifa give us wisdom when appearances deceive you. May humility allow us to hear an answer that we did not expect. May courage move us when fear tells us to remain still and small. May wisdom stop us when pride tells us to keep going. May we never confuse difficulty with misalignment. May we never confuse recklessness with courage. And when we cannot see the entire road ahead, may we have enough light, enough wisdom, and courage to take the next step. I want y'all to live wise, build Ire, and leave a legacy. Aboru, Aboye, Aboshishe, Agboto. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week.